Hi, we're going to begin in a seated position today. So again, always just make sure that you're comfortable. So if you do need to sit in a chair, if that's more ideal for your hips, then take that. We will come to the mat, but we're just going to begin with a short meditation and a little bit of seated movement. So just take a moment to find your support. So perhaps sitting cross-legged, the hips slightly elevated, or sitting on, I do find typically I sit this way a lot, or more often, especially if I'm ever experiencing any tension or pain around the SI joint. If you're unsure of what I'm speaking of at all, but you do have some pain back here, then just reach out. We'll talk about that a little bit. But sometimes this sort of external rotation of the leg can cause a little bit of compression there and discomfort. So sometimes just elevating things really high and sitting on the shins just to keep the leg bones pointed forward. So just a little bit about that. So I've been experimenting with playing music. What do you think of that? But just trying to keep it fairly quiet. And then we have the nice wind in the background too. Okay. So find your seat. Take a moment, just move through any wiggles or shifts or shuffles that you need. And then just take a moment to maybe close your eyes, soften your arms, relax your hands. Lengthen through the crown of your head. And then begin to find the contact that you have with the support beneath you. Notice where the weight feels heaviest in your low body. Is that the feet if they're on the ground, or the knees? Is it in your hips, your sit bones, or is it towards the back end of the pelvis, more into the tailbone? So just notice that. Begin to invite your breath to deepen into the belly. Breathing into the fullness. Just turn your head from side to side, just gazing over opposite shoulder. Eyes can be open or closed. Just turning your head from side to side. And then come through center, tuck your chin. Or bring the hands or the fingertips to the back of your head and the elbows down towards the ground. Just a little bit of pressure there. Be careful or mindful of the back of your neck. And then inhale, lift the chest, open the elbows, lift the gaze slightly. Squeezing the elbows back by drawing the shoulder blades together. Find those points that anchor you in the low body, root down into them and rise up. And then continuing with that exhale as you draw elbows together around your spine, tuck your chin. Inhale, open and lift, expand. Exhale, contract. Next time you're lifted, pause there for a moment, elbows wide, shoulders back. Breathing into the chest. And then come up tall with the head. Tilt over to your right side, and then right hand can come down. and the left up towards the sky. So actually bring the palm of your hand towards the sky and think about reaching up through your elbow as you push the floor away with your opposite hand and root down through those connection points to your seat. Breathing here. And then come on up. We'll go right over to the other side. Hand plants down, palm to sky, elbow reaches. A little bit of pushing of that floor away from you. If you are on the chair, this can just be done by holding the side of your chair. Nice inhale, rising up. Let's reach the arms towards the sky. Take a moment, just find your seated, extended mountain. So finding this action of drawing the shoulder blades back, opening up through the chest. So this engaging to the back body to open the front, to rise through the fingers. Take a breath here. Exhale as your elbows come down into a cactus shape. Really squeezing back behind the elbows, drawing shoulder blades together. Maybe gaze lifts slightly here. Inhale, reach straight up through center, tall. Exhale to that cactus arm, opening up through chest and heart. Find length through the spine as you reach up. Exhale, feel this like opening, a sense of blossoming or expanding. Beautiful. Release from that. Let your hands come down at your side. Just rolling shoulders out for a moment. To just do a short meditation with a hand mudra. So mudra is basically it is yoga for the hands. So it can feel a little bit uncomfortable. It's kind of similar to if you've done a stretch before and it's maybe your first time doing it or it's been a while. It can feel really tight and kind of crampy and kinky. The fingers and hands can be like that as well. So what you're going to do is bring your index finger and your thumb together, and then bring your ring finger to your thumb and index finger. This is where it gets a little awkward. So you want to then be able to extend your pinky finger and your middle finger. And hopefully in a fairly relaxed way. You can place your hands down at your side and your lap, palms up. And the fingers, we're going to be working towards kind of extending through them. If that feels like kind of unavailable or crampy or painful, you can also bring your pinkies together, your middle fingers together, and that just kind of helps to relax them or open them up, keeping the others, and then just resting that right at about your solar plexus area. So that may feel comfortable for you as well. And then when you're ready, just settling into that hand mudra, closing your eyes. And just taking a moment to feel how the in-breath expands through your body, creates space. And the exhale gently contracts in, kind of very similar to like a pulsing type movement. You may even slightly exaggerate that a little with your body, as if feeling like you were drawing inward and expanding outward, growing taller, just to the mind something to rest on here. Softening the muscles of your face and jaw, allowing the breath to pulse softly. And then I'd like you to begin to imagine a blank canvas in front of you. going to draw a wagon wheel in our mind's eye. So draw a big circle on that canvas. And then draw the center hub of the wheel. And then the connecting spokes that would connect the larger wheel in towards that center hub. When you've done drawing that in your mind's eye, just visualize that white canvas, perhaps a charcoal drawing of this wheel. When it's out in front of you, maybe 5 to 10 feet. And then I want you to imagine in the very center hub of this wheel a bright golden yellow. And with each in-breath, that very center hub begins to expand and grow larger and move towards you. And then as you breathe out, that wheel or center hub draws back in towards itself. Inhaling, the center yellow golden hub begins to expand, move closer towards you. And then as you exhale, it draws back in towards itself, away from you. Continuing with this breath, notice if your mind wanders away from it or the fingers are cramping, just relax through the hands. Inhaling this yellow golden hub towards you, expanding. Exhaling as it contracts away from you. And now begin to visualize your solar plexus expanding and contracting towards this center wheel as it expands and contracts towards you and away from you. Almost as if you were reaching out to meet it. Can that expansion come from the side ribs, the back body? Feel the fullness of that. And then silently repeating a mantra to yourself. I rest at my center and draw strength and joy from my center. Continuing with this expansion and contraction of the breath from your solar plexus out to meet that hub, that golden light. I rest at my center and draw strength and joy from my center. rounds of breath like this. And then on your next few breaths, just allow that wheel in front of you to draw back into itself. Taking a moment just to identify at what kind of point or expansion or contraction feels most beneficial for you in your solar plexus. If you were inhaling and expanding that light out, does it feel good to kind of maintain that space or expansion, or does it feel a little more comforting to draw that energy inward? Take a full breath in your nostrils. Exhale with a sigh. One more time, big full breath in. Exhaling with a sigh. Releasing your hands. Maybe just moving through your wrists a little. And then when you're ready, make your way into a tabletop position. Support under the knees if needed. Just going to take a moment here. Just move through cat and cow, or a rotation around that center column. So maybe almost imagining that wheel or that hub of light that you had created from your solar plexus, and just kind of massaging that around as if you had that sort of light just around the inside of your body, or you're pressing into it in the back body, or drawing it forward in the front body through cat and cow, circling around. Just connect to this place of the lower rib cage, your center core. And then when you're ready, tuck your toes. We're going to send the hips back towards the toes, just a stretch to the feet. This may not be always available to sit down on the heels, so you can come up and then sit down. Just a few stretches here. When you're ready, coming forward, rooting down through the hands. Feel the support beneath you. Feel the contact that the whole surface of your hand can make with your mat as you grip into the tips of the fingers. Roll the shoulders back, broaden across the upper back and chest. Tuck your toes, lift your hips into your downward facing dog. Just take a moment to explore if maybe this is your first one here today. So maybe high on the heels, down into the toes. If for some reason you come into this shape and it's bothersome to your shoulders, come down to your knees, come to your elbows, and you can always find that on the elbows. So you can stretch the back of the legs, you can wiggle around, you can still find a little bit of movement in through your shoulders and shoulder blades. Or coming down into tabletop and just working into the backs of the shoulders a little bit. Sometimes some of the tension at the front of the shoulders can be generated from tension at the back. So just explore here. It doesn't have to look like anything in particular except for just a curiosity in your body. And then we will come forward and down onto your knees. Okay, so a little bit wider, perhaps with the hands. We're going to be engaging through the core here to come forward as if you were going to lower down towards the ground. And then I want you to push the floor away and actually come up off your hands. And then you can land softly into the hands. So push away. And I want you to try and notice where this is happening from. So is this in the hands and arms and shoulders, or is there something that the body can help, the core can help to push away? Do you pull the hips back and then push, or do you push straight up like you were in a push-up? Can you play around with that a little bit? Just to strengthen into the arms here. Probably getting pretty warm pretty quickly. Checking in that you're still engaging the core, even if you're rounding your back or anything. Nice. Take a pause, send your knees wide, reach your left arm out in front of you, and then feed your right underneath. Pull your hips back towards child's pose. We're going to reach over to the left side, palm to the sky. Forehead hopefully comes down to the floor. Just a little breath into the back shoulder area. Draw your left hand towards you, push into the floor, come on up. Right hand reaches out in front of you, left goes under, palm to sky, hips back. Coming to the outer edge of that arm, forehead to the mat. Full breath here. And then coming forward as you bring the right hand towards you, come up to table. Back into your downward facing dog. Explore there for a moment. Land your heels down towards the floor, a little slight bend in your knees, engaging through that upper back, through the hands. Lots of strength here. We're going to lift the right heel to the sky, reach it up. So as you press back through that right heel, you'll notice both of your hip bones pointed forward. Can you roll your right hip up towards the sky like you were opening the hips? And then close the hips back down towards the floor. So just doing that a few times just to feel this kind of sense of opening, using the body strength of the upper back to support this movement. Nice, then come forward with that knee into a plank. You're going to hover here. Back knee can always drop down, pushing that away, breathing here, round through your spine as you draw the belly in, draw the knee towards you, send it back up to the sky, right foot. And then that foot comes down, come forward into plank, drop your knees or lower your body all the way down to the floor. Engaging through shoulder blades, root through your low body, inhale to your cobra, light through the hands. Exhale, coming down, press back up to table and to your downward facing dog. Same thing here, heels sink down, knees may be slightly bent, left heel reaches up towards the sky and pushes back behind you. Hip bones are pointed towards the floor. Open them up towards the left side. Bring them back towards the floor. Where's the weight in your hands when you're doing this? Just observing this opening. And then when you're ready, bring knee in towards chest. Bring yourself into your plank position. Knee can stay lifted or drop down. Push the floor away. Engage those fingertips. Draw belly in. Knee to chest. Breathing here. And then send that foot back up to the sky. Drop that foot down. And back towards table. Let's bring the top of one of your hands to the mat. Just a little rocking from side to side. Massage that out. Beautiful switch. Excellent. Back into your downward facing dog. Right heel lifts towards the sky. Knee into chest. Keep hips high for a moment. Left heel sinking down towards the floor. Then come forward into that plank position. High on your left toes and heel. Draw your right knee in towards you. And then wherever you can, step that foot in front of you. It's going to probably be about halfway or a quarter of the way forward. Walk your hands back towards your right foot and lean back into your heels, both heels. Bring your hands to that right knee. That knee may be slightly bent. Think about drawing your right hip back. Think about sinking down through your left heel. It may or may not be on the ground, that's okay. So just finding a balance here, a sense of rootedness and length through the spine. So we'll reach the arms back beside you, palms facing towards the floor, open through the chest. Take an inhale, reach your arms up overhead, palms still facing down towards the floor. Just taking a few breaths here. And then bring the arms back behind you towards your hips, down towards the floor as you hinge. Hands plant, right foot draws back into your downward facing dog. When you're ready, left heel lifts, send it to the sky, right heel drops to the floor, left knee into chest, come forward into plank. Rounding here, push the floor away, lots of upper body working. Draw the knee in and step your foot forward about halfway, quarter of the way. Lean back, hands to left knee. Left hip draws back towards that short edge of your mat. Lengthen through the spine, root down through heels, through big toe mound. Roll shoulders back, open the chest and heart and arms out to your side, palms facing down. Spine is long, belly is engaged to support the weight of the upper body. Inhale, reach arms out wide and up overhead. Exhale, they come down towards the floor. Left foot slides back into your plank position. Take your time. Lower, potentially through your chaturanga, which is actually a posture, so you may pause about halfway, and then come to your upward facing dog. So knees would be lifted, you'd be on the tops of your feet. Or from your plank, drop your knees, come down to the floor, and come into your cobra. And then when you're ready, exhale, press yourself back into your downward facing dog. So we'll go through that just one more time, that transition. Something to play with. It doesn't have to be perfect to start. Come forward into plank, knees up or down. If you'd like to try, or your chaturanga, which is not a transition, which is actually a posture on its own, would be elbows in nice and snug to your body, and whole body lowers so that shoulders and elbows create a 90-degree angle. Then flipping to your upward facing dog. You can always try that, see how it feels. Or knees. Lots of upper body working here to lower, back body to lift you into cobra. Move through that transition a few times on your own. Downward facing dog, into plank, down into chaturanga, or a supported plank, and then to your cobra. When you're ready, we will meet together in a downward facing dog. And then take your time, slowly walk your feet towards your hands. Come into a forward fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen your spine. Exhale, folding forward. Hands plant, right foot steps back. Inhale to your lunge. High lunge, arms reach, and then hands to heart center. Take a moment here. And just for a little extra spin today, we're going to reach the right arm forward. Lift it up towards the sky, and as you lift it up, open through your right thigh and land that heel down, toe points to the long edge of your mat. Then you're going to straighten your left leg, bend into your right knee, and pull your hips back. back up tall. Inhale, right arm rises up and over as you pivot back forward. Arm reaches, hands plant down, right foot steps forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen your spine. Exhale, lowering down. Left foot steps way back, land it down. Inhale, rise to your lunge. Exhale, hands to heart. Take a pause here. Left arm reaches forward, up towards the sky as you open and drop that left heel down towards the floor. And then bend into that knee as your right leg comes straight. Hips back. Lifting up, left arm reaches up as you pivot back through that back hip. Both hips face forward, hands come down, stepping to a forward fold. Inhale, lift in, lengthen spine. Exhale, forward fold. When you're ready, inhale, root through the feet, rise through the palms, all the way to your extended mountain. Exhale, hands to heart. Take a moment to pause here. Notice the weight of the body. Notice where you make contact with the floor, the surface beneath you. Notice how it supports you. Take an inhale as you lift tall. Exhale, clasp your hands, press the palms forward, and then up towards the sky. Up through the palms, over to your left or right side. Root down through the feet, rise up through center, and over to your left. Inhale, rising. Exhale, hands come down at your side. Take a moment in your mountain posture. And come back to your solar plexus, your mind resting in this place. And feeling into the breath expansion and contraction in the whole 360 of your core, this power center. I rest at my center and draw strength and joy from my center. When you're ready, taking a full breath in, reach up. Exhale, coming down into your forward fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Hands plant, step back to your plank. Exhale, lowering chaturanga, assisted plank, upward facing dog or cobra. And then exhale, come all the way down to the floor. When you're here, just bringing the hands out in front of you, forehead to the back of your hands, and take a few breaths wide into the rib cage here. We will stay here for a belly down Shavasana. Unless this is very uncomfortable for your belly, you're always welcome to just roll to your side and come to your back. If you are on your belly, what about bringing arms to cactus and ear to one side? So resting on either your right or your ear, or your right or your left ear, and gazing to one side. Hands can always stay on the forehead. I'm just taking a few breaths here. And really, regardless of what position you've landed in, belly down or belly up, when we come back to the solar plexus and expand this brightness through your back body. So that expansion and contraction of the golden light moving from your back body. I rest at my center and draw strength and joy from my center. If you have your head turned in one direction, just change that direction. Taking a few more full breaths here. And then energetically expanding or contracting that golden light around your body into the distance that feels most nourishing, most safe, most protective, most strengthening and joyful. If you're on your belly, beginning to press into your hands, come up to table, to child's pose, or downward facing dog, anything that would feel good for you. If you're on your back, finding a little bit of movement, fingers and toes and wrists and ankles, knees to chest, to your side, and eventually making your way back to a seated position. And when you get there, find the floor, find the surface that supports you, anchors you, and feel yourself rising from that place. Root down, rise up. Take a full inhale, reaching the hands towards the sky. Draw that energy from the sun down into your heart center. So much gratitude. And thank you for sharing your practice. Namaste.